Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the art of crafting a home offer that actually wins. So if you're getting ready to buy, you're going to want to listen up. We're going way beyond the basics to show you how to bulletproof your offer in today's market to make it the one that sellers just can't say no to. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. You've done everything right? You've saved up your down payment, you've got that pre-approval letter, you make what feels like a really strong offer, and you still get rejected. It's just so frustrating for so many buyers. So what's really going on? Why are these offers that look so good on paper still falling flat? Well, this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Today's sellers aren't simply choosing the highest offer. They're choosing the offer that feels most certain to close. You have to let that sink in. This is the big shift you have to understand. It's not just about who's got the most money anymore. It's a confidence game. The seller needs to know without a single doubt that your offer is going to make it all the way to that closing table. So first up, let's talk about moving beyond that pre-approval and really redefining what it means to be a competitive buyer today. Here's the thing you've got to understand. That pre-approval letter is your ticket to the game, but it is not the move that wins it. Seriously. Sellers and their agents, they now see it as the absolute bare minimum. They just assume every serious offer is going to have one. So if everybody's got a pre-approval, how do you actually get an edge? All right, section 2. This is probably the most important mindset shift you can possibly make. Learning to think like a seller and seeing your offer from their side of the table. So picture this. A seller gets a stack of offers. What are they and their agent really looking at? I'll tell you, the price tag is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. They are digging deeper. They're trying to predict the future. They're asking themselves, okay, which one of these buyers is going to give me the smoothest, most predictable path to closing with the least amount of drama? You know, when you boil it all down, a seller's priorities really come down to these three things: risk, certainty, and execution. They're weighing the risk that your offer might fall apart, how certain it is to actually close, and how well your team can execute the deal. Your offer needs a really strong answer for all three. And that brings us right to section 3, the certainty strategy. So let's break down how you can actually build an offer that screams certainty. And believe it or not, it often starts with something that sounds super simple: timing. Being flexible with your timeline can be a massive, and I mean massive, and often overlooked secret weapon in your negotiations. And just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got the buyer with a rigid timeline. Maybe they have to be out of their apartment by a certain date. That creates a ton of pressure. And to a seller, it looks like a higher risk. But the flexible buyer? Oh, they can accommodate the seller's needs. Maybe let them stay in the house a little longer to find their next place. All of a sudden, they're not just a buyer, they're seen as a cooperative partner. That is a huge advantage. Okay, next up, your financing. This is the absolute bedrock, the foundation of a certain offer. If you promise a fast close with very few conditions, your financing has to be totally rock solid and ready to go. Any hint of a last-minute scramble or needing an extension or trying to renegotiate, that's going to send a seller running for the hills. And look, the key takeaway here is you've got to be proactive. Talk to your agent and your lender early about tools that can give you this kind of flexibility. You know, things like bridge loans if you need to buy before you sell, or just knowing what down payment assistance is out there. Understanding these options beforehand means you can write a much stronger, more confident offer when you find that perfect house. And of course, we've got to talk about contingencies. You know, those conditions like inspections and appraisals. These things are a major source of anxiety for sellers. Now, the key isn't always to just waive them, but to manage them proactively. Communicate clearly and immediately with the listing agent if there's any potential snag. That kind of predictability builds a ton of trust. All right, finally, in our last section, let's talk about the person who pulls all of this together, your agent, and how they can become your ultimate advantage. I just love this quote. It says, "An agent's value lies in their judgment, transaction management, and ability to make the home buying process predictable, not flashy." That just nails it, doesn't it? The best agents out there aren't just opening lockboxes. They are master strategists and project managers. So what does that actually look like? Well, an expert agent is always thinking like 10 steps ahead of everyone else. They're obsessively managing every single tiny detail of the transaction. And most importantly, they are turning a process that can be totally chaotic into something predictable for both you and the seller. They see challenges coming before they become deal-killing problems. So we'll leave you with this question. Is your offer just pre-approved or is it bulletproof? The critical thing to remember is that moving from one to the other is all about shifting your focus. It's about building an offer that speaks directly to the seller's deep-seated need for certainty. And when you can do that, you're not just making a higher offer, you are making a smarter one. And that is what gets you to that awesome closing day.